Hello, 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 and welcome. I see people arriving. That's lovely. I hope you're all well. Um, Let me know who's here. I don't know why it's suddenly gone so dark. It could be my screen. Is it me that's dark, or am I dark? Oh no, I'm not as dark as I first appeared. It's my screen that was on a bit dark. That's better. I look a bit brighter now. I am not as dark as I did. Very bright here, so I shouldn't really be looking very dark. Good afternoon. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I don't know where you are in the world, so it may be a very different time to what it is here. It's just after 1 o'clock in the UK right now, and I am sitting in, well, I'd be sitting in the sun if I was sitting outside, but we have got sunshine. So it took till September really for the summer to show up. So who's in the room today? I don't know, why am I saying who's in the room? Who's in the room? Let me know who's here. It's a funny old thing, isn't it? Just seeing your little heads. I can see Wendy at the bottom. Tanya, hello. Tanya, where are you from? Um, Wendy's an angel? Of course she is. Absolutely an angel. From Germany. Well, welcome. Welcome. Actually, I do believe the Three Principles isn't massively big in Germany, so you could be a trailblazer. I do have one friend who's German. She lives in the UK now, but she's going to live in Switzerland very shortly. She may have already gone, actually, to be fair. And yeah, I lost my train of thought there, as you probably noticed. Yeah, it's not the Three Principles isn't very well known about in Germany. So that's what I do. That's a good way to introduce. I teach a really simple understanding about how the mind works, known as the Three Principles. But really, what I point to is your innate well-being. I had a lovely coaching session of my own earlier this week with a lovely lady I know. I've known her for a while now. She's called Stephanie. She's not on here actually. I think she should be. And she kind of came from a marketing background, and then she came across the Three Principles. She came across NLP and all that other shenanigans first, and then she came across the Three Principles. And I had a free coaching session with her just early this week, and we were exploring what it is I do and how I articulate that. And really actually probably inspired by that conversation, I didn't write something today. On my walk today, you know when you're on a walk and your head goes, right, here's the answer. My brain did a bit of that today. And so I spoke it into Otter. Now I can't find anything in Otter. Where is it? My conversations. Is that what it is? My phone is very low on battery right now. That is also just bonging at me. Oh, here we go. Where is it? Today. Yeah. So here's what I've written about me. Let me know what you think about this and does it make sense? So I am a life and business mentor. Let me support you by sharing the wisdom that I've gained over the last few years that has allowed me to find myself in a place of calm. I teach you and guide you to experience a life that is powered by calm. I spoke into this, it says powered by karma, apparently. Isn't life just powered by karma anyway? Powered by calm rather than being powered by stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. I help you to connect more deeply to intuition, and I work with you with a deep inner sense of you having infinite potential and all the answers to everything you ever need. I provide you with a space to explore, a space to listen to yourself, and a space to see that potential. I'm talking about more and more of the time. I don't know what that was. The space I provide is calm and loving and connected. It gives you that time you need to reflect, to settle, and to connect to the clarity and calm you need to make progress in whatever aspect of your life you're considering. You may be feeling stuck in your life in some way. You may be feeling a little lost. You've probably tried quite a few things to make yourself feel better, be better, or do better in the world. But you found yourself coming up against many, many brick walls. The key to all of this is knowing that you have been looking outside for the answers, when in actual fact, the answers have always been inside you. The space I provide gives you that opportunity to see that, to experience that, and to have that wonderful experience. Your wisdom shining through, your intuition guiding you, and feeling so much more like you are in the flow of life. So, whoever's just come in now, yeah, what do you think of that? That's a new, Wendy, thank you. It's a new way of me articulating what I do that I feel is simpler and clearer. And this series of talks that I'm doing starting today on the 1st of September, I've called Sustainable Calm. Now, that is not me teaching you a load of tools and techniques that you can use to try and make yourself calm when you're not feeling calm. It's being okay with the whole human experience whilst knowing that you're okay. And I'm going to share, I'll do it later on actually when I've done a bit more introducing myself. So, hello Eleanor, welcome. So let me know if you're new to this or to me, whether you've been here before. I like to leave it till about 10 past to really, am I a bit quiet? Hang on a minute, let me just get my mic. At some point I've, is that better, Eleanor? I must have knocked the gain down on my mic. And I'll put it here, right in front of me. I don't know what it looks like sitting there after the screen. But there's a little button on this side, the gain button, that little button there. And it was turned down, so I must have caught it at some point. And turned myself down. And I've got, it's really funny actually, because I used to be so loud. And now I do tend to, especially in these sessions, as I get calmer, I get quieter and quieter. So hopefully we've addressed that now, Eleanor. Thank you for letting me know. That's so helpful when people do things like that. Don't just leave me. Leave everybody going, what's she talking about? So yeah, let me know if you're new. Don't let me know if you're old. That's not what I'm trying to say. Let me know if you've been here before. Let me know if you have been seeking. Like, that brings up some emotion for me. Seeking. Who's been seeking for a long time, looking, trying to find the thing that's going to be the thing that sorts them out, that makes, that we think there's something out there that's going to help us to be, do and feel the way we want to be, do and feel, whatever that is, because for everybody I think it's slightly different. I think it's underpinned by calm or peace of mind, whatever you want to call it. But for everybody it's something slightly different that it looks like is in the way. It can be something out there, other people, the crazy people, there's a lot of them about, isn't there? It can be our circumstances, or it can just look like we can't have that calm or peace of mind because we're in some kind of emotional state right now. And, maybe it doesn't all need to be perfect for us to be okay. So this series of talks connects to my latest course, which is called Sustainable Calm with the 3 Principles. I'm sure my next course is going to be really about who you really are. Like, I've got a course called Revealing Your Potential with the 3 Principles, but I feel like there's something even deeper that I'm seeing now after my recent coaching session this week. So what I've just read out is what I help people with, and I really do see myself as a guide or a mentor, because yes, I use those coaching type questions with people to help them to see more, but I also do share elements of what I've learned in life, because it would be crazy not to, really. And I guess in terms of the 3 principles and sharing that is what I that's the bit that I teach. I share my insights, I share what I've seen, in the hope that provides an insight-friendly space for you to see what's inside you. So here on Insight Timer, I do usually 4 sessions like this a week. there will be 4 next week. I've just booked them all in. And what I'm doing at the moment is I'm not giving them a title until, like, today's title just came from Wisdom today. But if you are looking in this direction, then you will find the Sustainable Calm series of talks helpful. And that's our theme for this month, is Sustainable Calm. And as I say, there's a course. I have 5 courses in total. I'm really excited to see lots of people going through those courses, but also people repeating them and seeing more on subsequent listens, because that's kind of my own experience of being in this conversation. So a little bit more about me, and why am I qualified, or why am I the person sat here doing this? So I was a primary school head teacher. I burnt out in 2015, quite epically. I didn't work for a whole year, almost exactly a year, which I feel was decided for me, really, by the chair of governors of my school, who was frantic to get a head teacher in place, and paid me handsomely to leave. So I'll come on to that in a minute, Eleanor. So I burnt out. I didn't work for a year. I resigned. I then started a business as a hypnotherapist. I'm not a hypnotherapist now, but maybe my calm tone came a little bit from learning hypnotherapy. Although I do think my voice and everything about me's got more calm than when I was doing hypnotherapy over the last 3 and a bit years, going on for 4 years. And on starting my first business, and I'd love to know if there's business owners in the room. On starting my first business, I got caught up in the hustle culture, in the male energy of that. And I'm sure we've got some men in the room, but ladies, I'm really talking to you with this, that I don't think the hustle culture is good for anybody, men or women, to be fair. But I got really caught up in the idea that I was supposed to be like this energetically. And I don't know if anybody else has been feeling a little bit of the full moon in the last few days, but yeah, on the morning of the full moon, I sat. It was mainly the morning after, and I sat. I've been working on my assignment that I'm doing at the moment, and just felt I felt like I was going to burst into tears at any moment. And I'll tell you in a bit that I did burst into tears quite a lot yesterday. But yeah, just feeling that physiologically, that we as women go up and down over this 28-day cycle, but men, I don't know if you've noticed, if you live with a man, or you've got men in your life, maybe sons or fathers or partners, or you've ever lived with a man, they just get up every day and they're like samey, aren't they? And if they're not samey, they get a little bit like, what's going, like they certainly find it difficult to accept that. I've got a new male client at the moment, and he's not happy with the fact that he's fluctuating at all. But I know my fiance's just kind of the same every day. He just gets up every day, he does the thing, he goes to work. He doesn't really, and he's a bit like, he thinks when I get upset that he needs to fix it, because of course he finds that really strange, that I'm going like this all the time, and he's just kind of really steady. Thank God for Bruce, keeping me just about sane. But I think the whole business world and life in general is built on that idea of this. So because of that, I got really into seeking. So I'm going to answer your question actually anyway, is that, it's acceptance versus seeking is always, we probably will talk to that at some point this month, but really when I said about seeking just before, it was this idea of trying to seek outside of us our well-being. And I looked and looked and looked and looked. I tried lots of different things. I had lots of tools and techniques and daily rituals and habits, and I also did a lot of poking around in the past. I did traditional counselling through the support scheme from my work when I was sick, and then through the NHS, and that's the National Health Service for those who don't live here, and then did more kind of poking around in the past through things like inner child, and things like that. But it was all outside. It was all outside. It was all trying to get me to be okay. And my main issue that I struggled with was procrastination, productivity, not being motivated enough. Because of course I thought I was supposed to be like this when I'm actually like this. And but interestingly, since the three principles, I am more like that. I don't go up and down quite so much because I'm not so impacted on by those fluctuations as I was before. And then I came across this really simple understanding, this idea of innate well-being, this idea that actually it's all inside us. And I often talk about the process I take people through is this catalyzation of human potential, this sparking of people back into that essence of who they really are, to see that they've got everything they need inside them. And that's it's phenomenal. It's life-changing, really. Yes, the way out is in. Absolutely, Wendy. And Eleanor, so it's a great question. That is seeking inside is okay then? I don't know if we ever actually need to do that. Like I'd love to discuss with you what you're looking for there. Because for me, the stuff that comes from inside, when my mind is quiet, it just shows up. I don't, there's no looking, there's no seeking, there's no, if I don't know something, I don't know it. And when I know it, I know it. And I think, to me, that I'd love to explore that with you, Ellen. In fact, I'd love to have a conversation with you. And obviously, there's a link in my bio, and that's an invitation. I had a lovely conversation with somebody the other day who said they were very excited to speak to me because they thought I was a celebrity. I was blushing really because I thought it was a lovely thing to say, but I'm not. I'm just a normal woman currently living in a motorhome on the front in Aberdeen. I love to talk to people, and I love to talk to you, especially my lovely Insight Timer people on here. And actually, while I'm mentioning Insight Timer people, which you all lovely Insight Timer people, I don't know, is there a better name for you than that? I'd just like to say thank you to Wendy. She's no idea I'm going to do this, but I had not realised the potential of the chat in the group. So when I started playing about with the group that I've got, which is called Powered by Calm, by the way, if you'd like to explore that, I was kind of putting things in the main part of the group, like posting things, a bit like I suppose you would do in a Facebook group. But I hadn't seen the potential of the chat until Wendy started messaging me there, which you of course can do too. And I kind of went, oh, I get an alert on my phone if somebody puts something in there. So that must mean that if I reply or if I post something in there, if I share something, if I engage in a conversation in there, it shows up on people get an alert. Because I don't think you get an alert if I put something just in the main part of the group. So thank you, Wendy, because that's given me. I then went to look at some other groups that I'm in on Insight Timer, and I saw that that's how those teachers were using the group. A couple of teachers that you recommended, actually, Wendy, I went and had a look at them, and saw how they were using their group to message, to put in book ideas and articles and be able to share links. You can't. I tried to put a link the other day in the group, actually in the main, and it got taken out. They didn't like it. However, in the chat, it seems that you can share links because there is this video about it's just called Stop It, and it's a video about thought and stopping it. Really, it's a bit connected to my little ruler metaphor that I do, and I really want to share it, and I put it in the group and it just pinged away again. They didn't like it. The AI, whatever, the bot that looks after Insight Time, I went, nope, you can't have that there, and it went. But it looks like I can share links in the chat, so that feels like it's opened up a bit more of a place to connect with you on here, which is really good. So thank you, Wendy. Yeah, so that was my train of thought completely gone. Anyway, let's get cracking because I've waffled quite long enough. So this is the kind of the start of what I really want to share today. Starts with my transition from looking for it all outside, to looking, to knowing. You see, it's not seeking on. It's a knowing. It's knowing that it's all inside that changes everything. Not necessarily looking inside, if you see what I mean. The looking inside, the inside, just the answers just appear when we know they're there. So my life was in a state of confusion for many years, a confusion that I see everywhere. And it's a confusion created by a huge misunderstanding that is rife in society. And it's because society says the outside world makes you feel stuff, fundamentally. And where does it say that? I mean, you can give me some examples if you like, but examples that come to mind for me is that when you have X, you will feel Y. So when we're growing up, we're told that, once we pass all our tests and get our exams and go to uni and whatever else our story of our family might be, that once we have all of that in place, we will, we'll be happy. We've got 2.4 kids in a house and a car and probably a dog these days. Then we'll be happy. Or when we've got so much money in the bank, we'll be happy. Or, there's all that happiness story. Once you've got X, Y, Z, you will be happy, like that. And that for me was huge in terms of my career. So I went up the education career ladder quite quickly. Said I would be a head teacher by 40, and I was a head teacher. Got my first position at 39.5, I think. So pretty bob on there. Not a control freak at all. Anybody else a recovering control freak? Maybe that's what I should call the group. Total control freak. Very much married the wrong man, did not listen to my wisdom because he was there at the right time and I was on this mission. I was like, 100 miles an hour. I've got to get here as fast as I possibly can. I need to, have a permanent job so then I can have children and this has got to happen by this age. And, very much, I think my biological clock was ticking when I was about 19. It was just like, whoa, 100 miles an hour to get to the place. And so I married probably the man who wasn't ideal for me. And everything was outside and everything was, I just have to get all these things in place and I'll be okay. And, as a result, was very driven and very tired most of the time and probably stressed for most of the time. I'd say definitely from when my children were born. So my children were born in 1999 and 2001. And I would say, I think I had a mini burnout in 2001, where I really started to be very emotional, not want to go to work, and managed to keep dragging myself there every day. But luckily then I saw a lovely nutritionist who really helped me. But it was all outside in. So there's all of that. There's all the career, the money, the business success, the whatever else it is, educational success. But then there's all this stuff about people. If people just stop being a pain in the you-know-what, life would be wonderful, wouldn't it? And so we go through life with this sense of wanting other people to be different. And I would say, as well as that circumstantial stuff, that stuff about making myself feel worthy by persistently pursuing stuff in the outside world, there was also a huge aspect of, if everybody just stopped being an absolute pain in the backside, and everybody behaved the way I want them to behave, then I could be okay. So that was another element of control where I was trying to make everybody be okay so I could be okay. And all of this, like I've just said, is underpinned by this fundamental misunderstanding that the outside world makes us feel anything. It doesn't do that ever. And I guess as we get deeper into this, the understanding of this, we start to get much more curious. Like absolutely, I get lost in this outside in misunderstanding often, but I more quickly come to the place of questioning and curiosity and hang on a minute. If I think this is outside in, I must be wrong because it isn't. So now that I truly believe that it's inside out, not outside in, and that, inside me is everything is coming from inside me, there there's a space there that kind of opens up. And there's just a direction that we're looking in. We're looking to it being inside out, and we're looking to the source of our well-being being inside. And that's really like going back to what you asked before, Eleanor. Then there is no seeking because it emerges. So there's very little to do. So that I would say that's like to me is the first layer of the outside in misunderstanding when it definitely works inside out. The first layer of the outside in misunderstanding is us, believing that the out there world, the people, the circumstances, the weather, the whatever, the news, whatever, can make us feel things. And the control of that, the trying to control that is like the whack-a-mole game where you're hitting the little heads with a hammer and they just keep popping up and you keep hitting them and they keep bobbing up. And it's tiring and it leads to burnout. And I think possibly the reason why there's so many more women burning out than men now is because women just have their eyes on a few more things in a lot of households. And this is not anything against men, but women generally in most households have their eyes on a few more things. And so they end up with a lot to do and a lot to think about and trying to control absolutely everything around them. And it's tiring. So for me, that was huge. The things I was trying to control at the point at which I burnt out were ridiculous. Men on online dating, my kids' lives, my ex-husband who was then living next door, doing the divorce, trying to do all that on my own. I started decorating. I was just doing loads of stuff because I thought all this stuff would make me feel better. And it was really, really tiring. So that's what I call the outside in. When we're talking about that world out there making us feel bad, and us not being able to be okay if that world out there doesn't sort its stuff out. Oh, I'd love to meet that teacher. Inside out, outside in. Let me know more about that, Mick. So, Rick, we'll come on to what you said because I'm just going to pause a minute before I go on to the inside, outside in. So, Rick, happiness is intangible and elusive. It's within a feeling, belonging in simple things. Yeah, I'm not sure I even like happiness, Rick. It's got that happy clappy kind of thing to it. Yeah, and you might have moments of happiness, but I kind of like contentment or even just okayness. Like I would say that most of the time these days I'm just okay. It doesn't have to be any fancier than that. I'm present. I'm enjoying whatever I'm doing most of the time. I even washed up this morning and I got I I got I was drying up. I washed up and dried up. Bruce went for a long run this morning, so I decided to wash up and dry up. And I was like really like I was just drying this lid of this plastic container and just found myself lost in making sure I got when you've got a plastic lid and bubbles all inside the little rim. I was looking at them, and I was actually like, it was nice. It was okay thing to be doing. Who knew you could enjoy washing up? I mean, I have some limits. Bookkeeping, that's definitely outside in. I can't enjoy. I will make a note of that teacher actually. I do have a piece of paper. Thank you, Mick. Because I'm always keen to see what everybody else is up to on here. So that's the outside in. The pursuit of happiness. We might call it that, Rick. You know, it's a piece of chasing, physically chasing, and that's why it causes burnout. Now, the inside in is the bit that it took me a while to really get. By the way, I can see loads of other people have come on. I'll find him, Mick, don't worry. And I haven't said hello, so I can see quite a few familiar places, familiar faces down there, bobbing up and down, which is really nice. Do say hello. Let me know who's here, because I would love to know who's here. And let me know where in the world you are. I haven't shared my view today. I'm going to share my view, because I do like to share my view. Yeah, we've got C today. There we go. There's a man sat on my bench. I thought I might go sit on that bench later in the sun and just chill out. Yeah, so that's the Bassam. Yeah, right, okay, thank you. Thanks, Wendy. Hello, Monica from Austin, Texas. Hot. Yeah, well, it's managed 17 degrees. Hello, Maura from California, where I'm sure it's hotter than it is here. It was 7 degrees C this morning here, folks. I mean, it was a really clear night, so obviously the temperature dropped. Hi, JG from Minnesota. Hello. So I'm in sunny Scotland at the moment, and to be fair, people go, "Oh, you're going to Scotland? It always rains there," and I'm like, "No, it doesn't when I'm here," because to be fair, we've been here in all sorts of times of the year. We're actually looking this morning. We came here 3 times last year, I think, and we always have beautiful weather, and it is gorgeous on the front here. You've got rain, Kathy, bless you, and Nancy from Boulder, Colorado. 100 plus 38. Oh, Wendy, that's quite toasty, isn't it? Oh, Ember, Scotland is your happy place. I love Scotland. It is absolutely stunning here. I like Wales. Mind you, I live in Yorkshire and it's beautiful there as well. So I can't really. Oh, JG, you've got rain. So, well, it needs it. As my fiance always says, the grass needs it. And I'm like, it's been raining for 28 days. It doesn't need any more rain. The grass is drowning. Anyway, turns out the weather can't make us feel anything either, just like anything else. So we've talked a bit about this outside. Well, JG, call him for a cuppa if you come to the UK. Come to Yorkshire. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful place. Highly recommend visiting. You don't just go to London. London's lovely, but there's so much more to the UK than London. And Scotland is beautiful, yeah. Right. No more distractions for a moment. I shall come back to the comments shortly. I'm trying to be more focused on here at the moment. So, so we've got the outside in misunderstanding, the outside in, and the next thing there I call the inside in. So this is where it looks like I need to be a certain way to be okay. That my thinking has to be right. My feelings have to be right, and right is, of course, is totally in inverted commas because there is no such thing as right. That I can't be fluctuating, I can't be not motivated, I'm just not okay with me just going through the human experience, and that there is a desire then to control that, and that I think is even more pervasive than the outside in, because you're with you all day every day, like you know, like for a lot of people who believe their feelings are coming from the outside, if you're feeling anxious and you think it comes from the outside world, then what you can do is just avoid the thing in the outside world, can't you? You just go, bah, nah, not going to do that then. I'm not going to fly, or I'm not going to speak in front of an audience, and I'm not going to do all these things because I think that it's those things out there that are creating my feelings. If it's you, if you think it's because there's something wrong with you, if you're not happy with having various emotions, if you think your thinking's wrong or bad or too negative or whatever else the other stories are we have about these things, then you can't escape you. You're with you all flipping day, every day. And so the impact that has on our sense of being okay is much, much bigger because we can't escape. Now, it's worth exploring here what underpins our problem with, this is the ultimate question to me. What underpins our desire to feel different, what underpins us not being okay with certain emotions? Well, I think it's lots of different things, but a few things come to mind. One of the things is that when we were showing some emotions when we were younger, because when you watch a 2-year-old, and 2-year-olds just don't care how they feel. They're crying, then they're laughing, then they're in the Lego and they're absorbed in that in the present moment, and then they're off, they're hungry and so they're upset again, and you won't give them the chocolate so they're angry with you, and then in an hour, it's a bit like the weather on the M62, anybody who's from the north of England. You can literally go through every season with a toddler, every emotional season, in the space of an hour, and they don't care. Have you noticed that? They don't sit in a corner going, oh my God, I was angry and I shouldn't have been angry, and what can I do about not being angry, and do I need to change my thinking or get some therapy or whatever else? They don't care. They're just being two, and they're being human, and they don't have any negative relationship with their state of mind and how they're feeling at all. Their emotional journey is just fluid. But we don't have that, do we? And I think that's because at some point, when we were an angry toddler, somebody made it very clear to us that wasn't okay. It's not okay to be angry. And then maybe at another point, we were upset, and somebody comforted us. Don't cry, and of course, as parents, that's utterly well-meaning. Who wants their child to be crying? And so we comforted, and then the child kind of went, oh, yeah, that's not okay either. And then, again, there might have been fear, there might have been anxiety, and again, the parent soothed us, and the parent tried to make that feeling go away from us. And over time, we learned that some feelings were okay and some were not. So I think that's one element. But I also think even more kind of cool to see than that is that we have this, I'm talking here and pointing to, and I'll talk about it more as we go through this, the innate well-being. We have innate well-being. And that part of that is this psychological immune system. So, when you have an injury, so you cut yourself, let's say you cut your hand, and you have the body goes immediately into work. The scab, the blood dries up, and then the scab forms, and then if you leave that alone, it will just heal and heal, just heal in no time at all. It's like we're built to rebuild ourselves. We're built to, come back to well-being, come back to okayness. That's definitely true for us physiologically. Now, I think it's true for us emotionally too. We have a psychological immune system, and that psychological immune system is always trying to get us back to calm. The trouble is that it's in a place of confusion that there's something to do about that. So, we may go and drink alcohol to help ourselves feel calmer. Or, we may do a tool or technique to try and suppress or get rid of an anxious feeling. Because that's what makes sense to like this underpinning driver to get us to a nicer feeling. That is the human driver. No, it don't matter what you watch humans do or how you are or whatever. It's all this same driver. I need to feel okay. Not consciously, but it's just this essence of life running through us that is always trying to get us back to calm, always trying to get us back to okayness. And that's all it is. When I say calm, I say okayness. Maybe I should be the queen of okayness, because that's all it is, really. It's just that it's okay. I'm okay. Now, what's a really wonderful place to move towards is to be okay when you're not okay, or to be okay with not being okay. And to see that, a sensation arising in the body is a sensation arising in the body that has a lifespan of 90 seconds. And then it's gone. What on earth is to do about that? Nothing. 90 seconds. Whereas I guarantee if you are feeling anxious or stressed out or whatever, you try to get rid of that, I guarantee it'll last longer than 90 seconds. You can't even do a tapping routine in 90 seconds. So, your attempt to get rid of a feeling is what's keeping it in place. And underpinning all of that is this outside in fundamental misunderstanding that we are not feeling out there, we are feeling thought in the moment. Now, whatever we might think about an emotionally how we're feeling, it all changes when we realize that all an emotion ever is just a notification from our clever innate well-being system that our thinking is, the energy of our thinking is taking form in our body. And our emotion, our sensation in our body is just letting us know about that. Why would you switch off your most vital guidance? My first business was called Unique Journey. And I think I'm going to go back to that, actually, because I see that this understanding points towards every moment of every day you are being guided. Every moment of every day your emotions are letting you know about your state of mind. They're saying to you, okay, you're in a place of upset now, so you're not in a place to make a decision. You're in a place of anger. You're not in a place to have a conversation. You can wait and have that conversation or make that decision later when you're calm. And that's all that system is doing all the time. But of course, because most of us don't know that, an emotion looks like a problem. And this is not helped by the fact that our emotions have been pathologized by well-meaning therapists and medical people and drug companies, although I question the well-meaningness of the drug companies. But yeah, well-meaning. That our feelings have been pathologized to the point where it's not okay to have a whole range of feelings. Like, maybe put some of those in the comments. The feelings that you don't think it's okay to have. The feelings that you want to get rid of ASAP. Like, as soon as possible. How can I get rid of these particular emotions? Let me know in the comments if there's some particular ones that don't feel okay to you. Anxiety is the big one that comes to mind, because really anxiety does feed itself really, really well. Really well, really badly. I don't know. It's not very helpful anyway, because I remember once talking to a young guy in a volunteer coaching space that I do, and he was quite wound up. He said he was feeling really anxious, and as we got talking, it turned out that he hadn't eaten anything that day, and it was, well, the session I do is between 3 and 5 in the afternoon, so he hadn't eaten anything, and it was past 3 o'clock. And he wasn't brilliant with food, to be fair. He wasn't very good at eating well or eating at all, looking after himself in that regard. So during the call, I made him go get some food. I said, go get something to eat, and then we'll talk again in a few minutes. And he went and got something to eat, and then he came back and he felt so much better. And because he was extremely hypervigilant for anxiety, because he had all sorts of diagnoses and stuff, what had happened was he'd felt a sensation in his stomach that he thought was anxiety. It was hunger. He just didn't recognize it. He felt the sensation. The mind then came in and told the story about that sensation. That sensation is anxiety. He then went into trying to get rid of it. And of course, more thinking about the anxiety, more anxious thinking, more I've got anxiety again, more and more fearful, anxious thinking. And then he was, by the time he came on with the call with me, he was really in a state. And it was just that initial feeling, that initial sensation that he confused for being anxiety when it wasn't even that. So our relationship with what's inside us is also in an outside-in confusion. That our feelings can make us not okay. And I'm going to share a really personal story now, because this kind of, seeing myself go through a huge emotional kind of journey yesterday was really, really interesting, in regard to how different it was to do it with not finding any of it problematic as an emotional. So yesterday, excuse me, this is why I'm exceptionally tired, because I haven't slept very well. My daughter's been with her boyfriend for about 19, 20 months, and she is due to move in with him in 2 weeks' time, and he's just broken up with her. So her and him were just getting a 2-bedroom house together, moving in together. They were going to have their own separate bedrooms, but then they were mostly going to be, obviously, sleeping together and staying together. And he, out of the blue, called her yesterday and told her it was over. Now, he's a lot younger than her. He's only 20, and she's 23, nearly 24. And so I received this message just before I was about to go on this volunteer coaching space. But fortunately, as I went into the room, the people who were in there were people I know quite well, and I just said, look, I need to just be, I just need to speak to my daughter. So I phoned her, and she was absolutely beside herself, because not only was she in shock and upset and grieving, but she was also panicking at the same time, because she was all in her head about what was she going to do, where was she going to live, what was she going to do about the house, etc., etc. So she was literally like panicking, just in a right state, and just she could hardly speak on the phone. And so I said, so as I was speaking to her, she actually was sick. She actually threw up with the kind of, with the stress of it, really, and how much her body has kind of taken on in that moment. And once I'd settled her. She was luckily she'd managed where she's working that she's really friendly with her boss, so she went to spend some time with her boss, so that was good. I knew she was with somebody who cared about her. But then I'm 300 and something miles away. I can't be with her. And I'm not going to be back till, well, I wasn't going to be back till next Friday, but I think we're going to shift it forward and go back a little bit early. So in my head, I'm like, am I going home on the train? What am I going to do about, so I started to go through all the same, almost like not as intense as her, but through the same kind of a bit panicky, a bit like, what do I do? Kind of, because I'm still a mummy who likes to fix things for her children. Any mummies in here can relate to that. And I just wanted to be there for her. And the people in the heartfelt space, the space where I was helping out, they were just so helpful. They were so lovely. And it was really interesting to see myself go through this journey, this emotional journey. I didn't have to do anything. I was, and it was really cool because one of the lads in the room, he observed it. He said, I've just seen you go through all these different emotional places, from crying to, my sense of humour tends to come through no matter what, to making, to being humorous, to feeling a bit like, oh, what am I going to do? A bit of that kind of panicky bit, a bit of anxiety, and then a bit of kind of calm reflection and saying, well, maybe he wasn't the right person for her anyway, and I'm sure she's and seeing her, and then reflecting back about her well-being and how she was going to be okay, and all of that, just being okay with all of that emotional journey and seeing how I flowed through it, and I didn't have to do any of that. And we do that all the time, don't we? I'd like you to just sit with that idea that you do that all the time. You go through up and down and around and through all the different fields, all the different sensations, all the different thoughts. And the whole thing is just flowing all the time. Just like your heart is in there pumping your blood around your body. I mean, it's just, you can just look at your veins. I've got very prominent veins on my forearms, and I just think, wow, that is happening in me. I don't have to do anything about that. Flipping marvellous. I don't even feel like I have to say the words. That the words are just happening. There's nothing to do. And that's just amazing to see that this system we have inside us is just working all the time. We're okay. We really are okay. And there's nothing to do. And there's nothing to control. And there's no thinking to change. Thought changes because back to the ruler thing, the idea to change it occurs. And it comes from this place of realizing that we're feeling our thinking in the moment. Thought in the moment is only what we're ever feeling. And I think that's why, this Queen of Calm title, I am, how I deliver is calm, how I am with people when I coach them and mentor them is calm. I have a calm tone of voice, etc., etc. But for me, it much more speaks to this okayness. Like all the time I was crying, I did not need to stop crying. I didn't need to change I didn't want to, I didn't care to. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. And so, the truth of this is what makes it really, really, really powerful. Um, because I can guarantee that you can see, you know, you can see this inside out truth wherever you look. You can see it in your own fluctuating experience. You can see it in those moments when your circumstances stay exactly the same, but you change, how you feel about them just changes by itself. You know how one day that boss of yours is an absolute pain in the backside and it feels like you can't carry on working for him, and if he doesn't stop doing that, you're just going to probably go at him with a rolling pin. And then the next day he's doing the same things, but you're just not bothered. You know, some days your very full inbox seems to be creating overwhelm, and other days it doesn't really matter. Some days you can handle things better than others, the same things. And that's because it's not any of that stuff outside of you that's creating your experience, it's inside you. It's thought in the moment, and it's fluid. And you know, the other thing that's so important to see here is that it's not who you really are anyway. You are not your thinking, you're not even the thinker. You're that one now who can just pause for a moment and notice. Notice that you're thinking. You might notice some actual thoughts. Like, that's not a tool or technique, that's just encouraging that curiosity to see. It's flowing all the time. And because the emotion is just a representation of that in your body, it's just the energetic movement of thought through your body. Like, thought is bringing the emotion to life from the energy of life, from that innate, well, that essence of life, that infinite intelligence. Thought is just bringing it to life. Sometimes it brings things to life in images and words, and other times it brings things to life with a retching, horrible feeling in our body. A sensation that feels not good. And I am not saying these sensations feel good. They don't. But when you can have them not feel good and be okay, that's amazing. So I hope that's been a helpful introduction to this. Just now I'm going to need to want to share the dates for next week. I think I've got them in my head anyway, but the not all appeared on the app yet. They do take a little while. So I'm gonna go into the chat now, so that, you know, the key with this is to get curious, like really, really get curious. Just start to notice. And in a moment, I'm going to go over to the comments and see what I can pull out that's helpful to you. So if there's anything that you want to explore further, so Hannah and Wendy, I'll just come on to what you've shared in a moment. And I will be sticking to things that are on topic, really. I know people want to share lots of things, but it's so good to stick to the topic, and I'm challenging myself to do that a little bit. I'm bringing some awareness really to my ability to get utterly distracted the things that are not relevant in the chat. So if you've left a comment and it's not really connected to the topic today, hopefully I'll come across it. You'll come across it. I'll come up to it. I'll come to it. Oh God, I'll just put my teeth in. I'll come to it on another session. So, and just to say, these sessions are brought to you by donation if you can. In fact, I think we've changed. But yeah, I don't know why. A friend of mine told me they changed it to tips, but it's still donations. And if you are able to support myself and Insight Time on delivering this amazing content that's free to so many people, then I'm utterly grateful. And thank you so much, JG. I think she does. I spoke to her today, and she's phenomenal. She's picked up, I think, enough of this understanding, and because she's so young, she's so much more connected to it than us older folks are anyway. And she's okay, and she knows, she feels sad and she's tired and hungry because she threw up a lot yesterday, but she knows she's okay. I'm probably going to do another half an hour, Summer Star, so if you want something to share. And thank you so many people who've said that my daughter's lucky to have me. Bless you. Yeah, I'm lucky to have her too. Anyway, we're not going to go there because I'm using up too many tissues and they're bad for the environment. Anyway, so let me have a look. Hannah, you can resonate with having a calming energy. Oh, hang on. You disappeared. But I struggle with the chaos in my brain and thoughts constantly. While you look at, so while you come off calm for others. So that's really interesting. Oh, thank you, Mick. Thank you so much. So there's something there about you. Let me just see if I've got this right, Hannah. You, from the outside, you come across as calm. Other people would see you as calm, and you feel like you're giving out a calming energy, but on the inside, not so much so. And that's, I don't think you'd be the only person who has that experience of life. Us seeming to be something on the outside that we don't feel like we are on the inside. For me, it was like confidence was my thing like that. I think it's similar. I would externally people would have said Claire's really confident. She, I could do most things, stand up in front of people and talk, and obviously head teacher to do. I used to sing in front of the whole school, and teach singing by demonstrating myself in front of 400 kids and staff. I didn't ever have a problem doing things, but the whole time there was a narrative in my head, chunnering away. Who do you think you are? How very dare you? You look stupid. People are looking at you, blah, blah, blah. Now, it's almost like what you're doing, Hannah, which is amazing, is you're keeping calm and carrying on, as the little logo thing says, doesn't it? But that's the kind of thing that I would love to explore and hear more from you, talking about that and actually how you see that, because I can hear a real lovely chunk of awareness there, and I'd love to talk to you about it. So that's an invitation, Hannah, that if you would like to book a Calm Clarity Hour, which is that first conversation with me is a conversation that's free. It's a chance to explore issues like the one you've just raised there, and obviously to find out a little bit more about working with me further. But I am very reasonable, by the way. But that'd be an interesting thing to explore in terms of what you're sharing. I guess one question would be is, what do you mean by struggle with the chaos in your brain and the thoughts constantly? Does it sound a bit like that? Did everybody hear the motorbike? Why are vehicles so loud? Yeah, so you struggle with the chaos. I'd love to know what struggle means. That's the question that's coming to mind as I read that. What do you mean by struggle? And those are the kind of questions I think are interesting, because we assign words to things, don't we? And we have concepts of things created by words that are just like, that's just a group of letters struck together, the word struggle, isn't it? But we have an idea about that concept of ourselves, which is also thought created and can lead us to a place that's not in a place of truth. So Wendy, you said, saying to yourself, I notice I'm having a thought. That's a useful tool you've used before. Yeah, I think anything that helps us to drop back into a place of awareness is helpful, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, just like that. The thoughts never stop about everything, like spiraling. Well, do you know what, Hannah? I don't know that. Like when I'm doing, I suspect that they do stop. But when you notice them, they don't seem to have stopped. And then, of course, there's the noticing of a bit of thinking, and then there's the thinking about the thinking, and then that's another layer of thinking, and then there's the thinking that you should be able to stop the thinking. And why are you still thinking like this when you're calm on the outside? And wouldn't it be better if you could be calm on the inside as well? And only if your thinking just stopped. Do you know why I can do that so nicely, Hannah? Because me too. Unfortunately, mostly at 3 o'clock in the morning, which is just a rubbishy time to be to be busy-minded. I have been awake since 3 something this morning. I mean, I've got a lot on my mind at the moment, but if anybody has any tips on how to shut my head up at 3 o'clock in the morning, that would be marvellous. But I think maybe I don't care, Hannah. Like, I would like it if my head was a bit quieter in the night. I don't think it's something wrong with me, and I don't think I'm a problem, and I don't think I need to fix it. And so what I'm noticing over time is that with less attention, it's getting better. So this is another little trap of well, it's a trap of the inside outside in misunderstanding, but it's also a trap of self-development that says, well, this is wrong with you, you need to fix it. And how are you going to do that? And what are you going to do about it? And then we're on the seeking that Eleanor mentioned at the beginning. We're on the seeking, we're looking, we're trying to find a solution. Of course, that's more noise up here. And if we go back to your experience is being created from the inside out by a thought in the moment, then flipping heck, if that's that's creating this, then the more thinking we have and the more wrongifying and the more saying we should be better and be able to do it better, and why haven't we got control of this yet? And we've been meditating for X number of years, so why have we not a flipping enlightened guru? And do I have to go sit in a cave somewhere in order to be okay? Is that the only answer? Then of course our head is busy, busy, busy again still. Whereas, it's like the phrase, I love the phrase intrusive thoughts. Maybe you see your thoughts as intrusive, Hannah. Well, something's only intrusive if we say it's not supposed to be there. Like, an intruder in my house is somebody who I don't think should be there. But if my mother, try not to see her as an intruder, if my mother comes round and she's in my house, then whatever I don't see her as an intruder, she's not a problem. However, if it gets to like near my bedtime and I'm like, oh God, my mother's still here, then she feels like an intruder, doesn't she? And I want her to go. And our thoughts are just like that. They're only intrusive and they're only a problem, and they're only an issue if we think they're an issue. And thank you, Danielle. Thank you. That's so kind. That's fish and chips tonight, so you paid for my fish and chips because it's Friday and we're at the seaside, so really it's a no-brainer. You've got to have fish and chips. So Sandy, it's so interesting how you frame that. I immediately thought of what could be wrong. Like if you, like I read, if you wake up at 3 a.m., it could be just could be cortisol, just want to fix it. Instead of fixing, you just sit with it. Yeah, I mean, I do some things like, I lie for a while. I always keep my eyes closed. I sometimes sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star over and over again. And that just is enough noise for my thinking to not butt in. And sometimes I read, but I've had sleep anxiety, Sunday. That's probably the biggest, I've never really had massive, never really had a massive, oh God, I've lost my train of thought completely then. It's just gone. What are we talking about? Oh, so I've never had generalized anxiety, but I've had some specific things around insight timer, around sorry, distracted by the chat, around anxiety, around sleep anxiety. I had really bad sleep anxiety. It's all I thought about, because as I was burning out, my sleep just got crazier and crazier. So I'd manage to go to sleep because I'd be absolutely exhausted, but then I would sleep till maybe about midnight, and then that would be it. I would be then awake for hours. And the story, of course, when we're awake at stupid o'clock, is that we're not going to, I'm not going to be able to do tomorrow. I've got a busy job. How am I going to survive? I've got all these meetings. I've got to be at work till 10 o'clock tomorrow night. How on earth am I going to, I've got governors. They never shut up. We keep talking. I'm going to be there till God knows. And I've got all these other important meetings. And that little kid yesterday's parents coming in and they're really annoyed with me and blah, blah, blah. And how am I going to cope? How am I going to cope? Get to sleep. And of course, then your head is just about sleep. And actually, what I'm noticing now is that I am just not in those stories as much, Sandy. I'm not in those. I'm not in the stories, and so there's less. There's less of the noise. There's less of the cortisol. If we're going to talk about that, there's just a more quietness in me, and then much more. I am much more likely to fall back asleep. Now, I don't always, like today. I sometimes kind of just can sense that, I'm in the middle of writing this assignment. I had some great ideas about the assignment, and I just thought, I'll just got up, I did some yoga. I did a bit of work. I went for a walk. I kind of, I went for a walk just before I had a client. I had a client today. Absolutely love this client. She's lovely. Business mentoring her, and I just thought I need to. The walk was good. It woke me up, and now I am. You'll notice. Unfortunately, I'm starting to yawn a bit, and I am feeling a bit sleepy. But I've got fish and chips to look forward to, Danielle. So we're all good. I can stay awake for fish and chips, and maybe we'll watch a movie tonight or something. So, and thank you, Danielle. That's lovely. I just love it when things like that all fall into place, don't they? And it matches up with another realization, and you kind of go, wow, I'm seeing this even more. So love it. Maura, I tend not to go on my phone in the night, I'll be honest with you. I find that that wakes me up, so I tend to stay away from my phone. And I don't want to see the time, because I did look at the time this morning, and I find that definitely doesn't help. But once I see the time, if I don't look at the time, it's definitely better. So thank you. Some great stuff coming through today. I love it when we get to this part where we can just do some interacting and I can pick up on what you're saying. Being a teacher for 30 years, you always had the Sunday night blues, could not sleep on Sunday nights all the weeks before school starting. Yeah, me too. Totally relate to that. Isn't it interesting how at that point I would too, Monica, I did 20 years education. I would have said, yeah, that's my job. It's the job. It is just the job of teaching. That's what it's like. And now I really do see that it was my thinking about teaching. It was my thinking about what I had on my plate. It was my thinking about what I had to do. And that really is the true source of stress. Is not. I know that teaching there is a lot to do, but there's about twice as much stuff to do because of how much we think about it and how overwhelmed we become because we're thinking about it all the time. And that, when you see that, it changes everything. And I can honestly say that I get upset, I go up and down, but I would say stress, even when, stuff is happening, like what happened with Sophie yesterday, and, all the stuff happening, like my business in 2020 went boom overnight. I had no income because people weren't allowed to come and play at my house at hypnotherapy. So, with my first business, that um, was, that even then, I don't think I got particularly stressed. And when we're powered by calm rather than stress, anxiety, and overwhelm, we just can solve everything anyway. We really can, definitely. Oh, yeah. Monica, the new stuff in education, absolutely. It was when I became a head teacher, I felt like I had this huge responsibility to make sure the kids got the best of what people were saying was new and good and everything, but also to protect the staff from the continual new things, of course, some of which I was responsible for. I think my staff used to, like, literally, if I went out on some training, it would be like, oh God, what's she going to come back with? I'd go into the next staff meeting all buzzing. Well, I've been to this training and check out. This is what. Oh, they'd be like, oh God, here she goes again. So I did have to. I was one of the people who had to manage that level of change. But I guarantee you, there is always more in here than there is out there. Absolutely, it's our thinking and thinking and thinking about it that's creating the problem, not the thing itself. And I don't know what it's like over there, but the teachers here are just not mindful either. Because of the way the school year is broken down, it's broken down into all these little chunks. So as a teacher, you're always like, oh, when's the next holiday? When's the next playtime? When's the next, and I remember, like, going into the staff room on maybe Wednesday lunchtime, and somebody somewhere would say, oh, we've only got 3 weeks after this week till the next holiday. And you'd be thinking, but it's only Wednesday lunchtime. They've just written off Wednesday afternoon, Thursday and Friday because they're trying to get through it to get to the next holiday. So that's why I think, this is only my little theory, but I think that's why teachers are so love being, most teachers, when I'm in the classroom, it's amazing. It's all the other stuff. It's blah, blah, blah. But it's not all the other stuff as much as when they're not in class, there is a lot of time to think and worry and be in their thinking. When you're present with 30 children, you can't really think about anything else but that. Yeah, Monica, you said, you wish you knew what knew now. Yeah, but kind of yes and kind of no, because of what happened to me. I'm here now talking to you on a Friday afternoon instead of trying to cram through my email. No, do you know what I used to do on a Friday afternoon at about this time? I used to have the head teacher's tea party. So each teacher would choose a child who'd done something lovely that week. And they would all then come to my office, and we'd all sit on the floor on the carpet in a little circle. And they'd all tell me about themselves and their families and their weeks and what they really liked to do and what they enjoyed. And we'd have some juice and a biscuit. It was lovely. I really used to like my Friday afternoons in school. Yeah, they also, well, the teachers are on strike here, JG, at the moment, on and off. Well, they haven't been on strikes, they've just had just had 6 weeks off. But I do believe they will be going on strike again because they've been given a pay rise, but no money in the school budget to pay for it, which will mean that teaching assistants, those that help out in class, not the teachers, the non-teaching staff, will be going. So the teachers aren't happy to do that because that will, of course, their perception is that will increase their stress levels and provide less for the children. So they're going on strike. Yeah, right. Yeah, but isn't it interesting? I love you've said that, actually, Monica, because isn't that interesting? So we get to Friday and we're doing exactly the same job that we've done all week. And suddenly on Friday, it's like, yay, I'm full of beans and because our thinking is already off somewhere else into what we're going to do at the weekend. And the week's over and I've done it. I've made it through another one. So we're already off into the future, thinking about the future and lightening our load mentally and emotionally, because we're are thinking somewhere else. It isn't in the moment. It's brilliant to see that, isn't it, Monica? And then the same on the Sunday night. On the Sunday night, we might be sat on the sofa watching a bit of telly with our other half and eating a pizza and having a lovely time. But in our head, we're back in the classroom. We've got all this paperwork to do and the emails to do, blah, 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 and our head starts whirring, and then we're feeling our thinking. We are not feeling our job because we're not doing our job. We're sat on the sofa eating a pizza. So it's seeing this, and I think that's what the encouragement is for all of you after this session, is to go out into the world and see where you can see this, see where you can see that your world is working in outside in, not in, sorry, your world is working inside out, not outside in. Because if it was outside in, you would only feel stressed when you're at work, when you were actually in the job doing it. You wouldn't feel stressed on a Sunday night. You feel stressed on Sunday night because you're thinking about work, and you don't feel stressed on a Friday afternoon because you're thinking about the weekend. It's bonkers, isn't it, really? But it's a misunderstanding that's perpetuated by society, by the world out there. So it's no wonder so many people misunderstand it. So I can see that lots and lots of lovely people have come in since I started this chat. And so I would love to say hi to you. And if you've missed a great big chunk of this at some point in that not too distant future, I've got a bit of a backlog at the moment because I've been so focused on my assignment, that these do appear on my YouTube channel. And there's a playlist for that in the link in bio. If you'd like to find out more about what I'm saying here, then I really do recommend following me, dipping into some of my courses, checking out the course platform on here is brilliant. And I do, one of my favorite little things to do, my favorite thing to do is come and talk to you people, of course, because I love you so much. But one of my other favorite things to do on here on Insight Timer is to regain the ability to articulate myself, to actually go onto the course platform. I love it when I have a little. So what happens at my end when somebody asks a question on a course is I get a little red dot on my course thing, and I love to see those. And I go and then that shows me that somebody's asked a question on one of the courses, and I go into the course and I get to read the question and I get to leave a little voice note, and it's a really cool little system because it shows me the question while I'm recording the voice note, so I can kind of go through somebody's question bit by bit. And I find that's just such a lovely way to interact with people. But I am going to use the chat in the group a little bit more. So the group is, obviously, if you go to my profile, you can find, you can find the group. It's called Power by Calm. So the whole concept of that is that we do not have to live in hustle and stress and anxiety and overwhelm, and that we can live a life that is powered by calm, and that is our underpinning essence of who we really are. And thank you for all the lovely love hearts going up at the side. That's so good. Thank you. I think the people in this space, you beautiful people, can really connect to that idea. So if you're not already following me, please do head over and follow me. I do 4 of these lives a week, and generally they are an hour to an hour and a half. It sounds like a lot of time, but it is literally one of my favourite things to do. To just be here with you, sharing and fielding your questions and teaching this inside out understanding, and pointing you towards the truth of who you are, which is so much more than you think. You are not what you think you are. You are something way beyond that. You are the power of the universe and everything in it. And I love particularly to help. Love to help women to see that. But I work with men too. I've just signed up a lovely new male client. And yeah, the invitation I made earlier in the session to Hannah is an invitation that's there for all of you if you wish to. If you wish to connect with me and find out more about what I do and book a call. I'm having some lovely conversations with people from Inside Timer, usually 2 or 3 times a week now, which is just perfect, absolutely lovely. So is there anything else anybody wants to ask? And thank you so much as well for today, that sharing of what's happened with my daughter in the last 24 hours. It's not even that yet, bless her. Is it's nice to know I can come into a space like this and share something that's vulnerable and something that's smarting a little bit and has more tears than probably unless no, all tears are fine, but yeah, I think it's probably got extra tears because of that flipping full moon. Did you see the full moon did you have a full moon where you were? Ours was just mad. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you the picture because I think my phone's about to go to sleep. But the pictures of the moon that I took the other day were just phenomenal, really beautiful. My phone's very sleepy. Where are they? Yeah, it was just absolutely. So that's a good one. Yeah, I don't know if you can see my picture. Look at that. That's the moon looking like the sun, just at dusk. That. Yeah, the full moon was absolutely stunning. So I don't know if anybody else notices a bit of an emotional up and downness when there's a full moon, but who knows whether that's even real, but I do tend to just notice it. So I'm going to read again. Actually, I'm going to finish today. Oh, you had a hurricane, Eileen. That's a bit rubbishy. My phone is now really not happy. But I'm just going to, if I can, if it lets me, because I'm really running out of... Right, so thank you, Wendy. Oh yeah, bless you, Danielle. Yeah, I was crying on the day, just very, very emotional. So Wendy, just want to tell you, if I post the link to each live in the chat, you can find it if Insight Timer doesn't post it time. Thank you so much. I'll do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I'm going to use that. Now I know that chat's the thing to do. I'm going to use that a lot more. So yeah, JG, but yeah, we all have, haven't we? Oh, you've worked on yourself for a while now and you can realise your worth. I mean, I think it's Sophie's first boyfriend, bless her. She's got to 2023 and it's her first breakup. It's her first boyfriend. And, I think we can all remember the pain, can't we, of that? The pain of, just the pain of it, of that kind of retching, awful, the retching, awful pain of that, that feeling. It's not nice, is it? So yeah, it was orange here as well. That picture doesn't capture it very well, but it was orange here too. So for some reason my screen has gone really dark again. Oh, it's because my battery went a bit low. There we go. I'm back. Brighter again. Right, so I do believe I think we're done. Is there anything else anybody wants to say or ask or share? Otherwise, thank you so much. 136 people have been through the door today, which is lovely. As I say, if you don't follow me yet, please do. Thank you again to Danielle for the lovely donation. If anybody else is able to make a donation today, it does support me in sharing these insights that help people, and it also supports Insight Timer with the work they do. I'm going to have to, do you know what? I'm going to just tweak it a bit because I dictated it from Otter, and I'm going to put it in the group, in the chat, my little spiel about how I help people. And I would appreciate people's feedback, actually, if you've got any thoughts on it. I'm always, as somebody who helps people, you're always playing about with how you articulate that. And thank you, Danielle. So glad you've enjoyed it. And thank you to JG, and thank you, Monica, and thank you, Maura. Thank you so much for that donation. That's really, really generous. All of you have an absolutely beautiful weekend. I hope the sun is shining where you are. But if not, you're okay, and I hope you're shining inside. But if not, that's okay too. It's all fine. So next week's lives, quickly before I go. Monday and Tuesday at 3:50 p.m. BST. Wednesday, I'm changing the Wednesday one to a bit later in the morning. So if you're in the US, you might be able to catch it if you're an early riser. I think I made it 12:05, so just after midday BST. And then Friday this time, I do one on a Friday at this time every week. So hopefully I will see some of you there too. So thank you so much. Lots of love. Please do join me in the group. Please do follow me. Please do check out my absolute ton of free stuff, my courses and my other little premium tracks that I've got. And yeah, lots of love, everyone. Thank you so much. I feel held today, and I hope you feel that way too.